you can handle the heat.
Booyaka Shah, welcome back to another episode of If You Can't Handle the Heat. Today, we're going to be on a quest for zest. It's your host, G Swizz, a.k.a. Lord of Zest. Ahead of me,
The Gwitty Master.
the Gwitty Master. Ahead of me, got the best zest in the West, Joe Worsley. Joey, how we doing, brother?
I'm doing great.
Now-
Gwittying across the
Gwittying.
across the pod.
All the way. Now, obviously, Mike hasn't been on. He's asleep right now. It's kind of a later pod for us. But don't worry. Don't fret. We have a third member. Got to save the zest of us for the rest of us, as I like to say. Like I said, we're on a quest for zest. The Avery Aylesworth. Avery, get your ass in here, buddy. Get your ass in here. Little intro for Avery. Avery played against us since I was about 12 years old. Played with us starting when I was about 16 years old. We won a national championship together, played at Loyola, then played 2 years of Friedrichshafen. 3 years of Friedrichshafen. No.
One
2
in Finland
years.
for the first year out.
Got you. And here we are. Now he lives in London. The number one team in London right here.
In England.
Number one outside in England.
Yeah.
All across, baby. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're fired up. He's going to be here for the weekend. Maybe shoot some content. We're going to have a good time, though. We were raised by the Roger Worsley. Can we get a moment of silence for Lord Royce, please? Let's bow our heads. Thank you. That's all I ask. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but we're going to chat it up. We're talking about maybe some old times, talking about some new times, and we're talking about whatever we feel like. Joey, take it away.
I'll start off with this. You know, a lot of people don't know a lot about the English league and the English volleyball league, and it's a Jiba played in this league, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of athletes who've come from the U.S. played over in the English league. So I want to quickly start off the pod getting a quick update from Avery on his season from the transition to German league to the English league, and I want to hear about your thoughts on that, and also just a couple things on what the motives and what the of a lot of the English players, like what are they trying to do within the sport of volleyball, and kind of start from there.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, I'm at Durham University, which is up north near Scotland. Question, Gage,
Is it a professional or is it college-esque type thing?
Yeah, so it's actually really interesting. So you have both college and professional teams playing together. So I play for a university that plays in both the college league and we also play in the professional league. Question, Gage, where's
Question: do you both get paid, or is that how does only universities get, or only pro teams get paid, but university doesn't?
It depends on your program. So with Durham specifically, it's from what I've heard and what I've researched, it's one of the more like high-ranking academic schools. So for anyone in the U.S., like I wouldn't put it like Stanford. That would be more like Cambridge and Oxford, like Stanford level, but it's a very, very strong academic school, right? So maybe somewhere around like Loyola or like UC San Diego, right? And so like a lot of the people who are there for more of the academic side of things, but there are other universities around the UK where people are going strictly for sports and they're going strictly for volleyball. And then there's other professional teams that only play in the professional league. So that's where the team called IBB Polonia, they're in London, and that's the team that Jiba played for a couple of years ago, but when he was like 42 or something like that.
Still got it.
Bringing the heat. But yeah, so that Polonia team has actually played in Champions League. So I don't know if you guys know Peter Edwards.
What?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I think this was Joe and I's first year going pro. Peter Edwards was a couple of years ahead of us.
The Australian guy?
No, English. Or not English. American guy from like played for Diablo Valley, then played for Mountain View Volleyball Club.
Peter Edwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Went to De La Salle.
Okay.
Yeah, from the Bay. But yeah, so he was playing at Durham, and then he was also playing with Polonia when he graduated Durham.
Gotcha.
And then from there, they were actually in the same Champions League group, playing their way into the group stage or the qualification stage, playing their way into the group stage. Oh, this is actually when you and I were together in Friedrichshafen. So they ended up playing Trentino before Trentino like beat them and worked all the way up to being in the same Champions League pool as us in Friedrichshafen and like Novosibirsk and Karlovasko. So so I think they're looking in the next couple of years to be in Champions League moving forward, or at least CEV Cup. But That's like the only like professional team, if you will, or one of the top like professional teams within England. But primarily, there's a lot of emphasis on the education side of things for Durham. Now, with respect to actual English players, they have a few universities that are called like senior. I think they're called like senior development team universities, where essentially their kids are going there to become a member of the national team. It's essentially like a training camp, or like an IMG Academy, right? That's like basically like a sports school essentially.
Yeah.
But what's kind of funny though is we played one of the senior academies last night, and like the academies are schools that are very interesting. So this one that we played, it's Imperial. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything about Imperial University at all, but it's
Heard something. Sounds top notch. Sounds like some Illuminati type shit.
It's top 10 university in the world. Broken to the top 10. It's like
isn't Imperium like a
Imperial,
But isn't Imperium like a
an element?
like a Dogecoin type thing?
It sounds like it. Imperium.
Imperium, I swear.
I ready to get Gage cryptocurrency.
Currency with
They call it Zestium.
the Zest coin.
It's a real thing for sure, dude. No, so like the team we played though, this is a senior national team development program, and it's like a top 10 university in the UK. In the world. And like their medical school is one of the best in the world, and their business school is like very, very, very famous for like hedge fund managers and investment managers and all things finance related. So you have these kind of like different flavors of programs where you have one schools that are more focused primarily on academics, other schools focused primarily on athletics. So you get a good blend of both. But so those are some of the options for some of the UK players that want to develop a bit more, but Durham isn't technically one of them, but we are ranked the best right now in the UK for both the professional league and the university league.
How would you explain the level?
Developmental stages?
Yeah.
How would it do in the German league? Like how would you guys do in the German league?
Top 9 out of 10.
It's
VCO. Would you be VCO?
It's different. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Gotcha. So like I'll give you like, so for my team right now, right, we have myself, and then we actually have, what's pretty cool is like men's volleyball players aren't too like, we're not too common, if you will. Like if you play like Division 1, you pretty much know everybody, you know, like it's just kind of the way the volleyball world works. But with this program, not every single player goes from Division 1 to Europe. They usually go like either like a small percentage goes to Europe, and then the majority of them usually start working, you know. But they're starting to get a couple more people here now to Durham or to some of these English schools from the U.S. So I'd say it's been increasing a little bit. I think this year is a little bit more of a decrease from years past, just because of COVID is still like the impact of the COVID on the league is still kind of lingering with like immigration into the UK and things of that sort. Because the majority of all the teams are all like foreigners, or at least like we have one English kid on our team this year, and everybody else is a foreigner.
Got you.
Yeah. So like every year, and the majority of us are all post grads as well. So our entire roster is going to turn over next year. So there's going to be one kid returning.
Jesus.
Do you know what is the highest result that the English national team has had in any competition?
I have a question about the English national team too.
Okay. So I have no idea for English national team results. So it's actually kind of a bummer. Within England, it's a self-funded national team. So you have to basically pay. And it's brutal because like yeah, unfortunately. But so like with respect to going back to the earlier question with the level in the league itself, it's okay. Like usually Polonia is the best team because they actually pay their players. But this year we have a really good group of guys that are a bit older, a little bit more seasoned. And there are some really good guys that have played in like VLA and NVA tournaments and like teams of that sort, kind of the professional leagues in the US right now. So we're getting some good guys from over there. So like our level is getting up there. I would say, I'd say we maybe take VCO to 5, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But
with Avery on the outside, anything is possible.
Yeah, with me hitting on the pin, huge block here. But with the English national team, so I don't actually know what their best result is, but it's taken a significant hit from recent years, I think, because they actually used to have a couple of good players, but now like they had one guy who used to play for Tours, another guy who used to play for the top team in the Netherlands, not Lycurgus. Who's the other like top team in the Netherlands?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't know the name though. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, yeah. I don't.
Yellow team.
Yeah.
That's the name. Pretty sure, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, yellow team. But yeah, so like there are a couple of good guys that can bang for sure, but it's a self-funded program, which is like brutal because like, hey, you're paying to play on a national team. And it's like,
But
guys have like full-time jobs. Like, hey, I'm not gonna drop $1,000 on this weekend to go train, pass some float serves,
But hear
and
me
then
out.
head home to the family. Yeah,
Hear me
work your
out.
9 to 6 job.
2012. So I go first of all. About a month ago, I was on the line on the tube, and I was looking at 2012 London Games, and I was like, Britain versus Italy, no way.
Yeah,
so I
dude,
click
it's
on
like
it.
Juan Toreno's playing
Dude,
against like the English national team.
Yes, they were up 8-7. They were getting aces. They were doing everything in the beginning of the set, and they didn't look bad. It looked like, but it did look like their jerseys. It looks like they went to like Dick's Sporting Goods and just got like a Fruit of the Loom
screened on some
shirt,
numbers.
yeah, something like that. I was like, who is fighting these guys? But like you said, it's a pay-to-play system. At the end of the day, would you just pay $1,000 to get to play in the Olympics? Yeah, sure. Why?
Yeah, of course.
Why not? You know?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
hell of an
That's got that. It has pros, but I mean, it has its cons. But sometimes it has its pros. Like pay to play in the Olympics. That's a.
It's not a bad gig, but so
Yeah.
I think back then though they had a significant amount of more funding. But from that moment on, it's just kind of I think unfortunately gone a bit downhill, which is a bit of a
Gotcha.
shame. But what's interesting though is I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. The English national or like one of the universities, it's called Northumbria University. It's essentially the IMG Academy of English volleyball in the sense that like all the best English players went there. Whoever was kind of being a foreigner being recruited there, that was the best program in England for the university league, and they would always battle against Polonia. And they did I think it was called like a London Heritage or an English Heritage game. So they had Northumbria, a UK university, playing against Skra, like Behatov, and Friedrichshafen.
Oh yeah.
And so they ended up playing Friedrichshafen, and I was like, wait, that's our CEO as a libero. And it's like Tilo, who's libero. I was like, oh, fire up. And like, so like they try and bring over like some good competition, but that was obviously a couple of years ago. But now I don't think as much. I think they played a tournament recently in Luxembourg against like Scotland, Luxembourg, and yeah,
That's sick. Wait, do you have a question?
I was just gonna ask, do you think it's a good option for, people always ask like for opportunities in universities in the U.S. Is this like a decent option, you think, for guys who maybe don't have a ton of opportunities in the U.S. to go play over in England?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. So typically the level, like to be honest, you'll probably get like 5 or 6 really good games. Like there's like 2 to 3 top teams for the professional league, maybe 2 or 3 top teams in the university league. So like just be mindful of that for the level. If you're trying to go pro, I think it's the next best option you can do in addition to playing like NVL and VLA. If you don't get that first contract, because I think puts you in the environment, like it puts you geographically in the right area. And like you can be on the same time zone. You don't have to worry about NCAA recruiting standards. Or like, I don't think you have to worry about eligibility now for agents.
Okay.
Or at least like, well, in NCAA, do you? Like with the whole NIL stuff? I don't know too much about that.
Yeah, you have to. Well, you're not allowed to be paid to play. You're allowed to be paid for your image, your name, image, and likeness. So you're not allowed to be a professional athlete still and go back.
So you're not allowed to be signed to an agent?
Yeah, you can't be. It's a little.
It's a gray area.
Yeah. You're not really allowed to at that point. I want to kind of go a little bit off topic.
I have one really quick question about the British. One more thing about
Yeah,
Britain.
yeah.
Did you see this? This is probably the most random volleyball pairing I've ever seen. Italy, my mom sent me this. Italy is like sending, what's it called? Like they're helping out Ireland for volleyball.
Really?
Yeah, with like coaches and like maybe like some, I don't know about money, but in terms of like helping them out, I'm like, how does that even like come about?
So it's just like word of mouth. It's crazy. Like I think Joe can definitely attest to this. I think you can attest to it now, but like the volleyball world is so word of mouth. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, who knows who and who can help out who, and like there's gotta be a little bit of benefit on both parties, but like it's primarily a relationship driven world. So I think actually for Durham this upcoming year, there's a guy from Modena coming in.
Scheiße.
Yeah. So like it'll
Good
be
for them.
So, but like going back to Joe's initial question in terms of like, is this a good viable option? Academically, I think it's incredible. Like my philosophy always has been say, hey, look, like I play men's volleyball. I'm not gonna be making millions of dollars a year, especially as a libero, right? So like having that kind of perspective on it, I think is important. So using your sport as a vehicle to get what you want and get to where you want to go, I think is a huge thing. We had one academic advisor at Loyola who was really adamant on that. I think he was like a second or third string, like D lineman for Virginia. And he's like, hey, look, I'm not going to make it to the NFL, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my platform, my network, and everything that football gets me in touch with in terms of donors, sponsors, boosters, and leverage every single aspect of that for my professional career. And so now he's doing super well. And it's been something I've been kind of embody with the whole volleyball experience. Like Joe knows this firsthand. It's like when I was in Friedrichshafen, you don't really know if you're gonna get your next contract as a libero. So, hey, let's got to start building out the network. You got to leverage everything that comes with it. So using volleyball to introduce yourself to people in Europe, using volleyball to introduce yourself to people in the States. So with the whole Durham program, it's a top 5 business school in the UK. So it's a very, very strong rated business school in the UK. It's a top 100 university in the world. So for me, like I'm getting essentially a majority of my master's paid for by playing volleyball. And look, like if anyone from the States is considering getting a master's in anything business or finance related, we all know that that'll be probably anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 depending on the program you'll go to. But in the UK, it's significantly more affordable, and you're still going to a top tier program that has lots of alumni. I know it's turning into a bit of a sales pitch, but the point being is like there are lots of opportunities if you want to say get that next degree, or you want to transition from playing pro, get that degree, kind of reintroduce yourself to the real world. Or if you don't really know what you want to do, you want to play volleyball for a little bit more. Yeah, like I think it's a great opportunity to use volleyball as a vehicle to get your master's and then, jump off from there, and you'll get a significantly discounted master's from like a top tier program. So yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to it as well. But with respect to the Italy and Ireland thing, I've never heard anything about that, but that'd be sweet though. Cause it's really cool to kind of see the whole level of volleyball growing up. And I think what Micah said in the last pod is that volleyball is starting to become sort of this like cool thing. It's starting to get a little bit of traction now. Yeah. And like,
hopefully in America, at least.
Yeah, it was on. I saw a couple of clips of like Stanford on Overtime, and
you
like, guys on Barstool,
like Gwitting on Barstool, like Gwitting
all across the back row,
in the back row, on the sideline,
not playing defense.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I think it's a good option. I think it's something that people should consider. Truly, like look, like the level will be so, but like if you're trying to get a contract, like you can work as hard as you want and talk to as many people as you want. Like that's kind of on you, but if you want to go for the education, like, hey, like this is another great opportunity as well. So I think it's very good in both situations, because I think Durham's level's rising. Poloni is going to be on the up and up coming soon. And so like there's good competition, and you'll meet people along the way who are like willing to help out. So it's not a bad way to go about it if you're kind of stuck in between two paths.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Because we get that question a lot through a lot of people about like.
Oh yeah, I bet.
No, and that's super great. And I think that's a really big thing about volleyball is there's so many opportunities being created, and that's what we talk about a lot. Even in the U.S., you see so many things starting to blossom up and people invest money into the sport of volleyball. So we want that to continue to grow. Most people don't know this too. Boys and girls youth high school volleyball in the U.S., it's the fastest growing sport. People don't know that.
So I've heard that women's basketball is like suffering a lot because of now not every single girl, but like people are starting to realize the opportunities for like women's volleyball are just going absolutely bananas. Like there's so many girls that are moving from like different sports into volleyball. It's like I've heard like a lot of soccer girls and a lot of basketball girls are now moving into volleyball because of that, like on the youth side of things.
Kind of funny because usually we have a volleyball shortage. And well, for our aspect, it's like men's volleyball. It's always the opposite. People play basketball.
Find a middle.
Yeah. But this guy on JV basketball, Froschoff, 5th stringer.
Oh, we'll
take him.
Yeah, hey, you got cut on the basketball team. Yeah, you'll be great for the volleyball team.
That's true.
This takes me to where I want to take this conversation.
Let's get in there, Joe.
I don't know how much people know, but we played club volleyball together. Over summers, we always trained together, and obviously we played at Friedrichshafen. I want you to give people a little bit of a picture about how unique of a situation we played, like both in Friedrichshafen, just a little explanation of our teammates and our team and your favorite memories from that, both at Friedrichshafen and then Pac Rim, just the top 2 memories and a little bit of paint a picture for us of what that experience was like for us growing up. Because we talk a lot about it, but I want to get a take from anybody besides. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
The horse's mouth. Okay, so for one specifically, it was when Joe and I were together. We were this was during kind of like the crazy crypto boom, And we had some teammates who were like super into crypto. It was all like they were super into it. Like like my background is in finance, and so one guy was bringing like a notebook onto bus rides and like writing out like if any of you guys know what like stochastic bands are or like candlestick charts. He was basically doing like the probabilities and math statistics on how to trade crypto on a bus ride, like on a paper notebook with his like laptop. But this is in addition to the fact that whenever Joe and I were training, like we'd be playing like sixes and we'd get like a water break in between sets. And then like, I just like look over and I see my teammate. He's like turning around and I look over and he's like just trading crypto in the middle of practice. And he's doing like these like if any of you know what options are, but he's essentially buying these 10x and 100x levered positions on these wild just shit coins that are out there.
Dogecoin.
Like, okay, Dogecoin is credible compared to, I feel like what they're trading. But like, hey, like I think they were actually end up being profitable at the end of the year. But so that was one of them. And then the other one is like, it happened a couple times out throughout the year, but for being American athletes, like we don't smoke cigarettes like at all. But regarding cigarettes in like Europe, it's very much part of the culture, which is like, it is what it is. And I think it's like kind of cool to like connect over that. Like, hey, you're outside, rip a cig, right? I've heard like a lot of guys that I've had, that's how you meet girls outside the club. Yeah. You share a cigarette, ask for a light, boom, conversation, right? Break the ice. Hey,
Hey,
you got a light?
Spark.
Yeah.
Right there. Sparks are flying.
Exactly.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. So like one of my teammates, he got like 4 of the youngest guys on the team to like smuggle in duty-free cigarettes because you only buy 2 per person, like 2 packs per person. So we got 4 guys, 3 or 4 guys to each buy 2 packs of duty-free cigarettes. So then he could have duty-free cigarettes of like 8 packs in his apartment, so he didn't have to pay the taxes on them when we were in Poland for Champions League.
Oh my God.
And obviously like paid him back and everything like that, but it was like, damn, like gotta get the fix.
Question from Gage.
Okay.
I heard that you guys had a middle last year who, I think he was only part on the team for part of the time. He had a wife, and he'd be in the back of the bus, and he'd be FaceTime his like naked wife, and you could like see the reflection. Like his wife would be like naked waiting for him, like, and you could see the reflection from the back of the bus. Is that true? And he's just like talking dirty to her.
There might have been an incidence of that.
Hey, can neither confirm or
Yeah.
deny.
There might have been an incidence.
Hey, sick wife, bro.
Our team, you have to understand, our team was one of the most diverse teams I've ever been a part of. Cuban,
Cuban,
Belgian,
French,
Slovenian, Australian, Serbian,
German, American.
German, obviously, American. I think we're missing it.
we're missing some, but
Yeah. But the team was but also there's where they come from, and it was just the most unique like team.
yeah. So like with that, like a couple more things as well on that. So we had one guy, right, like trying to get duty-free cigarettes. Another guy on the team broke practice early. He said, hey, he called practice as a player because he said he needed nicotine. So imagine, like,
We're done, coach.
imagine Joe breaking practice. Hey, guys, hey, cut out the serve and pass. I need my cigarettes. Like,
Man.
yeah.
What if he just starts light? He's like, all right, fine, I'll practice.
Hey, there's nothing
Just
wrong with
his
it.
cigarettes while setting them.
No, but it's like, so we had like that. Like one guy got offered to be in a porno. Like it's
Did
just
he?
like,
5 G's, yeah.
yeah, it was like, hey, like gotta pay the bills, right? But like,
what you
but
gotta
then
do.
there's also like other cool things where it's like, hey, these guys are like playing the Olympics and like they're sharing all their Olympic stories and like they're dressing up in the pilot's uniform. So like one of the guys on the team, he played in Rio. He has a picture of himself like on his Instagram, and he's dressed up in the pilot's cap and shirt with the wings on the shirt as well, sipping like a scotch, just like coming back from the Rio Olympics. So like, it's like,
Wait, was he just like? Did
Hey.
he get the pilot naked?
no, because they have like a couple, like it's like a cross Atlantic flight from Rio to France or like
Right.
Rio to England or Rio to Germany,
Right.
wherever they were flying to. And just like, yeah, he said they had another pair and they're like, hey, like, let me wear that shirt. So he's
Oh,
just
that's sick.
open bar with all the Olympic athletes of France and whatever, like Germany or Netherlands or wherever they were at, and just like cruising along. But the cool thing though is like, I think Joe can attest to this, is like those guys, like the bond and like the relationships you build with them are so much fun. Like you get super, super deep because you're battling with them every single day in practice. But in terms of intensity though, it varies. It definitely varies in practice. Like our Pac Rim practices, like there are some times where I was like a little bit scared. going into practice. And there are other times as well where it's like I was ready to fight someone, like probably like Jordan or like someone across the net, like very much so like, hey, like, all right, let's get it going. And like I'm a boys volleyball player, so I know there's a net between us and nothing will actually happen. But doesn't stop me from chatting through the net and getting under some skin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. You need a Pac Rim. You got to name your top 2 Pac Rim stories now.
Yeah. Okay. Top 2 Pac Rim stories is playing. Was it Burn? And just like, do they know what the?
You gotta explain. No, they don't. You
You've
gotta
done it
explain
before,
Burn.
Okay, but so Burn is basically no overhead contacts, or you can set, but you can't like jump and attack. But we'd always basically go like smalls and talls. Or can you jump?
Yeah.
You can jump, but you can't attack. You can set down, pass. You can't tip, so you can't tip down. You can't do any of that. But what you have to do is you have to basically not attack, but still be aggressive and put the ball in the net. You can block, but you have to like set down.
Yeah. So I remember like us playing Burn. It was like one of my first times ever, and we have like Jack Eisner on the small side. We have you two on the small side versus like Jordan, Sean Vicema, who's like D lineman for like a university program, and like Pat Gasman, who's like 6'10", just like absolute monsters on the other side of the net. And I'm like, all right, we're going to get crushed.
Nope.
Just absolutely obliterated. And then next thing you know, we have this guy named Jack Eisner, who is just going up, taking, like literally catching the ball and just going up, dropping it, and throwing it against the inside part of the net on the other side. I was like, that can't be legal. And like Jordan is like losing his mind. And I'm like, okay, there's a fight about to break out right now, like day 1 of training. And I was like, this is insane.
But Jack's smack talk was elite though. He'd be like, oh yeah, Jordan, you like that? We're like, yeah, that's right, or just something like that. Like for example, they scored this. I got this from him actually. For example, let's say they get a point on him, right? They block him, and usually it's the blocker who then talks smack to him. But Jack would get ahead of the curve, and he would go, and he'd be like, oh yeah, like to his friend, oh yeah, you like that all day, baby, all day, or just something like that. And the blocker would be like so confused, like throwing him a curveball, be like, and or he'd be like, he'd try and speak like Mandarin or something like that. Sometimes I'm not gonna try, or just start throwing out random phrases. He was elite.
Eisner was the king of getting under people's skin in our practice gym.
Yeah, just an absolute legend. But like, so I'd say like that one was really cool to see. Because like we talk about like the intensity in training and practices and stuff like that. Like you're 17, 18 years old and you walk into a gym and like from like first minute that you're there, it's like, hey, heads are coming off. Like people are ready to just get after it.
Yep.
And like, I mean, I think that's at least I attribute a lot of that to my success. I'm sure for you guys as well. It's like, hey, like every single day.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Every single day you're just bringing it. Like
exactly.
There's no off days.
I was going to say, even to this day, like I've been in some awesome gyms, but that's like the most competitive atmosphere I've ever been in is the Pac Rim, our training sessions from when we were kids. Because it was like, but it started like our coaches set the tempo. Obviously, my dad, he was like the one who set the tempo.
Lord Royer.
People don't understand like he's one of the most competitive people.
Dude, it's incredible.
And so incredibly competitive and wants to win so bad. And he wants to just play at a high level constantly, like never like wants to drop below level. And he doesn't allow it to happen. But then when a coach is like that, the rest of the team, I always feel like the team develops the personality of the coach. And so the coaches always can ask for the team leaders and stuff to set examples and be the ones. But if the coach, like at some point, I think the team always takes the personality of the coach. And so for me, that was like the most competitive practice gym I've ever been a part of. And it's still to this day, even like playing professional, because it's just not the same type of. And at that point, nobody's playing for money. You're not playing for any. It's like you're just playing because you love it, and you're just crazy competitive. Yeah, for the boys. And our team was so freaking close. We just we'd play together, and then the whole weekend we would literally never leave each other's side.
We'd live together.
Yeah, like so. I was gonna say I have 2 more memories. One of them is off the court, but one of them on the court is, or like 2 of them on the court are. We beat Bones, which I think had Cal Ensing on the team at the time. So shout out him. And we beat them in JOs on the way to the national championship.
It was second day.
Second day. But I think it was a team that you guys had lost to in the past or
we
hadn't
lost to
beat.
16s.
Yeah, right. 16s. That's literally 2 years ago.
It was the first. It was the December. It was the December tournament. We lost them in the quarterfinals. Bones. They beat us in 2, and they whooped us kind of.
Yeah, but like that's. I think Gage, you accentuated that point precisely. It's like you come in every single day with an intention to hey, like we have a absolute like killer motive, and we are going to be at our best no matter what. Like, so as soon as like we step onto the court, doesn't matter who's across the net, we're going to be at our top notch. And so like carrying that competitiveness and intention and just being ultra competitive with every single ball. Cause like, hey, like we're fighting for like a vendetta that we kind of got, like we didn't perform as well we wanted to 2 years ago. We're going to go out and ball out and show them who we are.
No, I was going to add on to that. You were saying 16s year. 16s year was the last time like our age group in that team lost at nationals, and we worked our asses off so much that summer off the court. We were having to do miles every single day, sprint, like so much like intense stuff that you never, video sessions every single day, 2 hours. We had scouting reports on every single team when we were like 16 years old at the tournament, and we lost that when we lost in the quarterfinals that year to Balboa Bay. We were so crushed and just absolutely just like so demoralized after that, after we put in so much work and fell like short. We did not play well, and we never lost again. Because our dad, he's the guy. He will never let you forget that ever. Like, every day he will remind you of stuff that has happened, and which is good. Like sometimes you need it. You'll walk in and he'll say, you remember that. Sometimes it's annoying, but sometimes like you need that. So he will never let you forget that and what that felt like. So that's something like I've never had a coach also that is like that. Because a lot of coaches are like, oh, we kind of want to move on and stuff, but he's like, he's not that. He wants you to remember that, and he wants it to eat away at you. So that's another.
I want to comment really quickly before you continue. I want to add on to that really quick. For me, because nationals, it was for our mindset going to nationals all the time was you win or it's a failure of a season. It's not like we did well in this tournament, we did well in this tournament. We just didn't, stuff happened bad at nationals. It's not like that with us. It's my dad's the coach, my brother's a captain, I'm the libero, my mom is the
physio,
and
team cook,
cook, everything. She videos all the games, et cetera, et cetera. So we're so super involved. And I was a player, and I still get like this sometimes, but I'm a lot better now, where I would get like really, really nervous to the point where I have a crazy diarrhea story, but that's for another time. Like diarrhea.
That's not from the Libero diet, people.
Yeah.
It's something totally unrelated.
Completely unrelated to eating 3 Chick-fil-A sandwiches per day. But I would describe it as like nationals. It's 4-day tournament, but you get there 2 days in advance or whatever. I would describe it as psychological torture for me. I would go and I'd play and I'd just be like, it'd be over, but I know like we needed to win this tournament, and it's 4 days just writing it out. So let's say before the games I'm nervous, but it was good nerves. It would help me go through, but I was like so nervous. I was good, played well. The more nervous I was, the better I was. And then I'd get in the hotel. I'd just be like in bed, just like I couldn't relax. I was like moving always. I was like next day. I was like 12 years old, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old doing this stuff. And it was so much pressure that it was just like psychological torture every single day. I was like, until we won. Remember we win? Luckily we won a couple times. I remember just sitting just by myself. I remember just afterwards just sitting on the bleachers of the main court just by myself. It just felt like all the way to the whole season. I was like, whew. And as Joe said, my dad's very intense. There are different ways to coach. I get it. But like you said, if you want some dogs on your team and you want all that, you got to put pressure on your team, and you need to, like you said, embody the spirit that you want your team to be. And that's what my dad does really, really well. Obviously it led to some fights between me and Joe, and you get these amazing stories from it. But if you want some dogs, you got to be a dog yourself. That's all I got to say to that.
Yeah. No, but like with that as well, it's actually something that I don't know how it's been kind of perceived in England, but like with my team, like I think everybody's been like super stoked that we have a good team this year. But the level and like the intensity of bringing that back from like the Pac Rim days into like the gym in England, where like some guys haven't really played professional before, other guys haven't necessarily played in the university level before. Yeah, it's an interesting mix for sure. But I think it's a net positive though over the course of the year. Like I think guys are starting to enjoy it. But the other story that I had for the Pac Rim, if we want to talk about intensity on the court, is so we talk about like Roger, super intense. There are no free lunches in his gym in the sense that like, hey, you got to work for everything. Nothing's going to be given to you. I think Jordan at this point is like whatever, like top 1 or 2 recruits in the nation behind like TJ, or like him and TJ are like neck and neck, essentially being top 1 or 2 recruits in the nation. And Jordan like rolls up, I think it was like 2 minutes later, 1 minute late to practice. And right, if you roll up to like say like a soccer practice right, a couple minutes late, like hey, like your mom or your dad's dropping you off, like oh it's okay Johnny, like it's okay, like don't worry about it, like hey, just maybe be on time a little bit earlier next time.
Right.
Like we're all driving at this point, right? And so if you're late a couple of minutes, sometimes maybe the coach should be hey, come on, let's get with it. Like let's not be late. Like you're better than this. And you'll probably hop into practice. When I saw that, Jordan rolls up. He's still a little bit late. Next thing you know, tying his shoes up. Roger was like, hey, on the line. Was it like 200 lines? Like what was the punch?
200 laps.
Yeah, 200 laps.
And he would grab Dip and the assistant coach, and he'd count, or Joe Peacock.
Yeah.
Joe Peacock. And he'd grab him and he'd make him, and he 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And the thing was that there was the net there, so you had to duck under the net too 200 times.
Dude,
the worst. The
shout out
absolute
back
worst.
pain.
Shout out back pain. It was,
Yeah,
now I have back pain.
It's like I see how to
Roger.
sponsor now. Yeah, exactly. No, but like when I saw that, I was like, holy crap! Like this is for real. Like this is like, and I don't know if a lot of people know like my path to Pac Rim, but I was originally with Mountain View Volleyball Club, and I was like pretty adamant on like wanting to join like Pac Rim to prepare for college. Like I had a very, very honest conversation that was like very informative for me in kind of my path as both like a man in general and like growing up, and like also like my volleyball career. It was like a lot about like loyalty, so sticking to Mountain View until the time was right, and then from there like looking out for your best interest and like seeing what you guys were doing obviously with the club and like the intensity. It's like hey, like that is what's going to prepare me for the next level. So it was just like it was absolutely bananas, like seeing like okay, hey, here's like a top player, and all right, hey, you're a couple minutes late on the line, 200,
run,
give them to me, get after it. But I mean, how many are fireworks okay to talk about on this podcast?
Yeah, dude, everything's okay to talk about.
Nothing is off limits. All right, so two memories of mine that are like ultimate memories regarding fireworks are so it's like it's late at night. I'm talking so whenever Joe would go on a recruiting trip, because Gage was younger and like I wasn't on a recruiting trip, it'd just be Christine at home with like 6 other like 18-year-old boys.
Oh yeah.
And so we just cruise, right? Like Gage has like $3,000 worth of fireworks under his bed.
Can I give the?
Do you actually calculate it out?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, give it to me.
So I've never done drugs. I never drank or anything like that. So, and everyone has their outlet, I guess, when they're a teenager, right? And I have volleyball and all that other stuff. I guess my outlet, eventually, when I was about 16 years old, turned into 15, 16, turned into fireworks. So what I would do is all of a sudden, I guess I was Pyro Gage back in the day. What I would do was
light them up.
Light them up, boys. Well, it gets better. It gets better. So what would happen was, obviously in California, they are illegal fireworks. So what would happen is I'd have to I live about 30, 45-minute BART train ride from San Francisco. So I'd go into San Francisco on my own, about 16 years old. I'd work my way to Chinatown. I made some connections in Chinatown, and I just kind of go in shops, asking for fireworks, and be like, no. And eventually people will be like, okay, you can come through, right? Because they're illegal, so you have to go behind the counter. It's like damn near a drug exchange. What I'd imagine that'd be like.
16-year-old Gage making it happen.
Exactly. So they would like take me in the back. They'd be like, I got these mortars. I got these M1000s. I got all this.
For everybody who doesn't know what an M is,
M80 is a quarter stick of dynamite.
No. M80 is like it's like that's like the regular boom boom, right?
Yeah.
M1000. For those of you who do not know about pyrotechnics to the extent that Gage does,
bingo.
That is a quarter stick of dynamite.
I had at one point. I had around. I would say, in terms of sticks of dynamite, I had around. Like I didn't actually have sticks of dynamite, but
like if on aggregate,
exactly, like about 7.
Yeah.
Sticks in my backpack, and I'd get these 2 backpacks, and what I would do is I'd go behind the counter, make deals with these guys, like go back and forth with them.
Buy in bulk, Costco style.
Exactly. I'd bring bags. I'd bring bags with me, and I'd bring my backpacks. I'd bring bags. I'd buy bags there, and I'd go back on the train with all these fireworks, hide them from my parents, hide them under my bed, and then late at night, Avery, take it away.
So from there, when Roger isn't around, the enforcer, with Joe on road trips, we just go, cruise a couple parks, hang out. We're like, all right, boys, let's fire it up. So next thing you know, just take the little lighter, light it, and we just start booking it to the bushes into the forest. Next thing you hear is just absolute chaos. And then we just hear like sirens off in the distance, like the cops are coming at us. We're like, what the hell's going on here? But so regarding fireworks, one of the best memories that I have is we're going to, I think it's like this like high school party, a little house party. And we're cruising around. I don't remember the neighborhood, but essentially like I'm 18. I'm allowed to drive. But I have Gage and 2 other teammates in the car who are like,
We went to a party?
16 years old, 16, 17 years old. We did. But we stopped beforehand at a park. All right. So stopped beforehand at a park. And where we're going is it's kind of like windy to get up there. We found a little flat spot. All right, cool. Found the park. But like at this point, Gage isn't into just quarter sticks of dynamite. Like we're into the real things. And for those of you who don't know what mortars are, imagine taking a paper towel tube with no paper towels on it, putting essentially a baseball on there with a fuse. You light that fuse, and it's one of the ones that goes all the way up. Like it goes,
I had some big
like,
ones too.
pops, and that's where you kind of get like
Explodes.
the big like kind of like the raining sparks or like different colors. Like essentially those are kind of the
It's
actual.
a firework. Exactly.
It's a legitimate firework. Like, it's not like a bottle rocket, right?
Yeah.
Like that's child's play.
Child's play.
So I'm the only one who can drive. We go to this park. We're about to go to this party. Gage's like, hey, let's light out some fireworks. Coming with a bang, literally. So we go up there, light off.
Oh, no, I remember.
This massive mortar, like huge mortar. And then we're like, oh, shoot. We got to get cooking. Like, because there's like people coming around. This is like in a neighborhood. Like, this isn't just like in the middle of nowhere. Like, we're in a residential neighborhood with families lighting off miniature bombs, for God's sakes. And next thing you know, like, oh crap, hey, grab the mortar. So we're running back to my car. The mortar, whatever, the stick that we lighted off is smoking still because they just lit a bomb off of it. We get into my car, and next thing you know, the car starts smoking because we have just basically a lit fuse in my car, essentially, that's still smoking. And so we have a packed, like 5 people in like a little 2000 Honda Civic just whipping up the side of this hill. I can't see shit outside the front window because there's smoke everywhere in the car. I have one guy in the back seat who's just sticking his head out the window, just going nuts, holding the smoking gun essentially just outside the window. It's like, guys, I'm airing it out. I'm like, I can't see. So like, this is all the night after 2 or 3 practices in one day.
Oh yeah.
Like this is par for the course. Like this is like, for those of you who think this might be a bit wild or a bit crazy or a bit, irresponsible, this is a daily thing. Like, this is nothing out of the ordinary for us.
We would spend our weekends, there'd be, whether it's 4 of us, whether it's 11 of us, we would spend our weekends running from the cops, lighting off fireworks.
Oh, dude.
And it got to the point of where we would just get so, because the cops knew for sure. They're like, all right, they're expecting this.
Oh, dude,
because
it's like that, egging cars.
We won't get it. We don't want to get it.
Oh, shit. Okay, not egging cars.
We were
Allegedly.
We might have been little shits. But
hey, we're 18. So what?
I was under 18. You can't. What's it called?
Hey, you live in a different country now. I don't think there's extradition for minors.
If you're listening, don't do that.
Yeah.
But,
hey, bad influence.
But we would spend our weekends running from the cops because we just blow crap up. All right. I would like to say that obviously I didn't go to school for this. I was still 16, but I had some experience with explosives. I was a little pyro kid, maybe a little bit. So like I was the one being very safe with it for the most part.
Right, hiding them under your bed.
And yeah, exactly.
So for those who don't know how we trained in the summer, there was like 11 guys sleeping all around. Like I'm sharing a bed with Micah, Joe and Gage are in a room with like 3 guys on the floor, 4 guys on the couch. And little do you know, little pyro Gage. There's like 3K of fireworks just sitting under his bed, like 3 sticks of dynamite.
First of all, 2 more things out on that, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. But the thing is that we got to a point where we were so balls, we would pop them off, and then we wait for the cops. Be like, all right, cops, wait, and then we just book it, and then just flashing lights and chasing us. And we got so many close calls. I could tell you so many crazy fireworks stories with the cops talking to the cops. Oh, just absolute manium. But that's a rabbit hole I'll get into another time.
That's
also
another topic.
Exactly. Also, I worked hard for that money was all mine too.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah,
like that is something that you earned. You worked your butt off to have fun.
Illegally.
Hey, we're not putting labels. I'm just saying you had fun.
Dude, I remember I was like, boys, I'm gonna make this PG. Before we go out, I'd be like, boys, let's light the sky on fire, boys. Let's go. I've been getting everyone ready. Let's bring it go. Like, I remember I bring my girlfriend, who was my high school girlfriend one time, and she saw a side of me that night that she had never seen, and she was scarred. She was like, damn near shaking in the back with me. I'm like, no, it's good. Oh, we gotta light this up. She's like, oh my god, who is this guy that I'm dating?
He's gonna lose a finger. He can't hand pass anymore.
Yeah, we broke up that year. I'm pretty sure, actually.
It wasn't from the fireworks.
No.
She was all on board after that, though.
Yeah, she doubled down. She's like, actually, I like this guy. No, quite the opposite, actually. But if you guys are wondering where Joe is, Joe had to hop on a call. CEO Joe is like, do you have one more story?
No.
If not, no worries.
No. I think it was just like that. I mean, there's just loads and loads of stories that we have just lighting off bottle rockets. Like, I remember you and I sitting in like a drainage ditch with Jack, just like letting off bottle rockets down the side of your hill.
Yeah, just Roman candles, bottle rockets, huge things of fire. I mean, just like that. That's like the small play. Blossoming flowers, the small stuff. Bigger blossoming flowers. I had it all. I had Triangle of Death where it shoot up mini mortars.
Yeah, dude.
That was a cool one. I
remember that
ones.
one.
And then, like I said, M1000s. Like the M1000s are like about loud. It's like a cannon, kind of.
Yeah, it's like you're blowing up blacktop. Like
it's
like a little miniature hole on the blacktop.
Yeah, it's like a crater. Creates a crater for sure.
Yeah.
But we were safe with it for the most part.
Yeah, we were.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Moral of the story, kids, if you're listening out there.
Hey, for all you youngins out there.
Actually, I shouldn't be giving. Who am I to give advice at the end of the day? Not to tell all this, but as they should, though. As they should.
No, but I do think that it speaks to like the coolness of the team. Like, hey, we 100%. Trained so hard, and that was like, I think that's the reason why like I'm visiting you guys now in Germany, flying in from like England, is because like, hey, like when we were 17 years old, we were lighting off sticks of dynamite, running from the cops at 17 years old, while also doing 3 practices a day
and winning national championships. And also, fun fact, I always think that our 18th year was the greatest team of all time.
Dude.
Because, listen here.
All right. Hey, I'm all ears.
Because my sophomore year, your senior year, 6 players on that team were all Americans in college. 6 players. Here's the thing about a lot of these people. They're like, oh, this was the greatest team, and this was the greatest team. I base the greatest team off of, yes, their success in club, but also the success in college and how good they actually were. Because that's the only way for example, age groups can be bad, right? Now all the age groups are together in college, bam, right?
You have a bigger grouping of like exactly. Minimum. Well, I guess with COVID, you could have up to 6 age groups all with each other.
100%. And 6 national champions, 6 All-Americans. I mean, are you kidding? I mean, there's like it's just unbelievable. Like in 1 year, and I still think we were the greatest club team of all time. 100%.
Dude, I still get people asking me about that. Like even like now in England, like, hey, like you play for that Pac Rim team, right? I was like, yeah,
that's
awesome. Like I was there, like we were cruising, lighting off fireworks. But like it's like so true though. Like, but okay, so I don't know if was it last summer or 2 summers ago, they did a rerun of a few of maybe it was during COVID. They did a rerun of like the best USAV matches.
I saw some of that.
So it was like they had some high performance championship matches against like one of the teams I was on, like NorCal versus Team Canada. They had like other like 18s, final opens, but like one of the matches that they still had, because all these other matches are like 2018, 2019, 2017. And like we played our national championship match in 2015. So it's like relatively old, if you will.
Yep.
And like I still think that match is one of the greatest matches ever played from like
skill
who was
level.
On the court. Like
and
the skill. Like that is a
100%.
Division I match.
100%. 100%. And I would, if anyone wanted to come at me, I will die on this hill.
I dare you.
I will die, go down in the dirt, and then come back, reincarnate myself.
With an M1000.
Exactly. With 8 sticks of dynamite, and then come at you even more. I don't even care. We're going to wrap it up here, Avery, because I also want to, before we wrap it up here, before I say thank you here, just want to give a shout out to also this summer we will be doing events such as camps. It's a link in the bio to sign up. Either one, you want to learn from a lot, you want to get exposure from a lot of the top college coaches. They will be there. We will be announcing them very, very, very soon. 2, you want to learn from some pro volleyball players such as myself, my brother, and the Ad System crew. Or 3, you just want to be on our TikTok, you want to be on our YouTube, you want to be on our social media. We mic players up. We do it all there, right? We'll be going in North Carolina. Link in the bio for that one in the end of May. Also, we'll be going to Davenport, in Iowa.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I always
Davenport,
mix
Iowa.
I was with Idaho and Iowa. My bad. And the end of June, also link in the bio. But yeah, also support the boys with the merch. Link in the bio as well. Avery, I just want to say thank you so much. We have a
Dude.
legendary weekend. Let's go light some fireworks off.
Hey,
huh?
let's
go light the fireworks off.
Let's not get arrested by the Bundespolizei, but let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun.
Let's get after it.
And with that, just remember, if you can't handle the heat, goddamn kitchen. This has been another episode presented by Outer System.